Good morning. Hope everybody is doing well. We're starting with the audio test. We're a little bit early. So please, if you can just in the questions or the chat window, just give me comments if the audio is good for you. So just an audio test. Okay, cool. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Just doing a final audio test from my side. Just let me know if you can hear the audio okay, or if there's any challenges. Thank you. Okay, so I see people starting to connect. I'm just going to wait a minute or two before we start, just to give everybody time to connect. So thank you again for those attending. Okay, good morning, everybody. It's 2 minutes past 10 in Dubai now. I'm going to start the session. So thank you very much for everybody attending. The purpose of the webinar today is to share a little bit of information with you guys about the way Access and Milestone is doing integration. I would like to thank my colleague and my friend from Milestone, Haider, who's the community manager looking after the META region. He will also share a bit of insights from Milestone today. So what we'll do is, the plan is that I will present first just to share the agenda. The plan is to give you guys an overview of Access Optimizer, then just give you a brief update on what's the latest version, which was released this week. Then we'll open up for a few questions. I've got the questions tab open on my side to monitor the questions. Then I will hand over to Haider to run us through some of the new things in Milestone 2020 R1. A little bit of an introduction, and at the end, if there's any more questions, we'll also open up the session for a bit of questions. So again, thank you for your time. I'm going to start the session now. So to jump in from my side, Access Optimizer. The whole idea with Access Optimizer is that we unlock great user experiences directly in Milestone X Protect. You'll see there's a lot of different access devices on this picture. You'll see there's cameras like normal, but you'll see there's also different types of cameras. Here we have normally fisheye cameras or 360s. We might have cameras that have advanced features like speed dry, wash your wiper functionality. we have an intercom, we have audio devices, and the whole idea with this optimizer plugin for Milestone is that we enhance the experience of the user. So, like I said, this plugin is developed by Axis for Milestone X Protect. It brings a lot of value for integrators, for administrators, and for operators. I'll just jump into a few of the features. So, as per version 3.5.7, this was launched, say, about 2-3 weeks ago. You'll see there's quite a lot of advanced features which we bring into X Protect itself. I'm not going to go into all the details. We don't have enough time today to jump into all these features. There's one or two of these features which I really want to go into a bit more detail today. Maybe give you guys a bit of a video if possible, and just give you guys an update. So what I'm going to jump in now is, of course, the speaker management plugin. So as you guys are aware, Axis has released a lot of IP audio speakers, so PoE IP-based devices. So here what we've done with Optimizer is we've brought these audio devices directly into the X Protect interface. You see there, that's the management client. And you'll see here now I can actually manage my speakers directly in the VMS itself. I even have a master audio volume control. If I jump to the next one, give you a little bit of more detail. Here you can say which type of audio clips I want to have between the devices. I can even synchronize my libraries. And the good thing is all of this happens directly in the VMS itself. So this is what it looks like in the client side. So here in the client, if I need to use audio quickly and easily in the client side, there's a push to talk functionality. I can very easily select and play audio clips. I even have a microphone input indicator. So there's a lot of functionality which is added directly in Smart Client itself. You see you can even search for different speakers. You don't even need to associate a camera with a specific audio device anymore. So we really start treating these devices as individuals in the VMS itself. So going to de-warping. So most of you guys know that Axis has fisheye cameras. So here what we do directly in the VMS itself, this thing is jumping, we add a digital PTZ. Sorry, just give me a minute. I just need to remove this animation from the slides. Apologies for that. Okay, let's try that again. Apologies for that. So like I said, what we do here is we bring the digital PTZ functionality into the VMS itself. Here we can do all the different views of the camera. We can look at the multi-streaming, the de-warp views, the quads and the panoramics, and all of this is brought in directly into the VMS. You even have a digital PTZ functionality in Smart Client itself. So jumping into visitor access. So here we can now use the door stations. Here we can have the ability to accept, decline, and hold calls. And I'm just going to show you guys a short video of how that actually looks. And you'll see now when you add this into the VMS itself, when somebody actually pushes the button there, you'll see what it actually will do now is it will ring inside a Smart Client. You have the functionality to accept that call, or you can decline it. There's a built-in relay built into the door station itself. You can then trigger the door and you can actually open it directly from there. And this is built into Smart Client itself. Okay. The next feature I want to look at, for me, this is extremely useful. This is what we call on-screen controls. So if you have a Smart Client a web interface or smart client open, you will now see a lot of new functionality based on your camera features, where you can immediately adjust things like the focus, the WDR, the image stabilization, the IR. All of these things you would typically do in the web interface of the camera. So for me, from a security perspective, we really take away the web interface where operators and people need to log into a web interface and fine-tune cameras at the end of the day. So a lot of this functionality moves again into the VMS, and now you can clearly see that it's very easy to access and change this. One other feature for me, which is extremely important and very useful, this is what we call Access Camera Assistant plugin. And this is basically the web interface of the camera. So now you see the full web interface of the camera directly into the Milestone management client. So the cool thing here is you can access the cameras without their passwords inside the management console. So it doesn't mean you need to log in every time into the camera. You can dynamically search on the name, the IP address, the whatever unique model number, etc. on this camera that works for you. And here you can even configure the ACAP. So in other words, the edge-based analytics on the cameras, you can directly configure that directly from the management client. So again, it really saves you a lot of time by not having to jump into web interfaces again, trying to configure, and also trying to, too many people having the usernames and passwords of cameras because of web interfaces. So I'm just going to show you a video again, how that looks. So you'll see this is basically, that's a Q6155 PTZ. What we want to do as an example here is configure the Access Video Motion Detection. And you'll see this is now directly in XProtect Management Client. And you'll see here, this is something I used to normally have to do inside a web interface. And now it's pretty simple and straightforward just to do it inside the management client. So you have full functionality. You don't have to worry about things not working. You don't have to worry about jumping back into the web interface to get full functionality. There's quite a lot of things that happens here. So something else for me which is extremely useful from version 1.2, Optimizer, of course your system, if it had internet connectivity, has the ability to automatically update. You need admin rights to do this, but now it makes sure that your optimizer has the latest version installed to do this. So currently, just to give you guys a bit of an idea of how many people is using Optimizer, Optimizer currently we believe there's about roughly 10,000 people who's already downloaded and installed it. Of course, we're not able to monitor everybody, but we have a fair idea of how many downloads there is on the software. Going to the system requirements, you'll see that typically if you have Milestone XProtect 2016 R1, there's the different versions that's applicable, and some of the functionality, example like de-warping, works on specific versions. So, but if you have the latest Milestone, it would work pretty perfect. I saw there was a question about the device pack. The device pack, according to me, and Haider, you can also comment on this a little bit later. The device pack would typically only determine the device that's supported. If Milestone correctly recognizes the camera, then Optimizer would just continue working with the advanced functionality like the washer, the wipers, the speed dry, all these type of functionality. There was another question, can we upgrade the camera's firmware through XProtect? Not yes, as far as I know, but
yeah,
either you can.
Yes, that can be done as well, since you have the full web interface available. So there's an option that you can do the firmware upgrades from the optimizer itself.
Perfect, thank you. So just as a last slide from my side, like I said, Optimizer 3.6 was released this week. For those of you who've worked with a company called Vaxter, they have a container recognition analytic which runs on the camera. This is also supported in Optimizer now. There's a new camera, or relatively new camera, called the P3807, which is a 180-degree multi-sensor camera. So here we have a new feature called Virtual PTZ, which is also introduced into this now. And also we've introduced embedded web pages. This will be extremely useful going into the future when we look at the body-worn cameras. And also there's been many updates and many improvements made on the speaker management side. So the door station, the speakers are still extremely easy to use and easy to operate inside the system. So this is the end of my part. It was just a short overview from my side. At the end of this session, just as a notification, you guys will get an email with a little bit of a survey. If you have more questions or you have more things which you feel would be good to see inside Optimizer, please feel free to answer the survey. Feel free to reach out to myself if you have any more questions or if you want to have a bit more detailed about Optimizer. Also, Optimizer is available free of charge for download from the website. So please feel free to download it and use it as far as you need. And just before, last thing from my side, before I hand over to Haider, I'm going to open up for questions now on Optimizer before we jump to the Milestone side. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the questions tab. I'm going to give a minute or two for that. Yes, there was a question to ask if we can get a copy of this slide and videos. Of course, I can share the videos, the demo videos after the webinar with those of you guys that's interested, to show you some of the functionality. Okay, I'm going to hand over now to Haider. Thank you again for those attending. Okay, over to you, Haider. Thank you.
Thank you, Tertius, and good morning again, everyone. Hope you're all well. I'm gonna straight jump in with a very quick introduction on what Milestone Xprotect video management software is. So Xprotect is a video management software that brings all the complex puzzle pieces of your surveillance system together. As you all know, these days, typically the surveillance system is not just about the cameras recording to a normal recorder, and you can have live view and playback. It's getting complicated as the industry is evolving. Even if you've seen how access has evolved with so many different intelligent devices, so much intelligence on the edge. So Xprotect open platform allows all this to be onboarded and adopted on the platform, whereby you can implement a really custom bespoke kind of a solution for your customers and for your requirements, which works today and which are also future-proof as well. So a very quick overview of what we have launched in our release 2020 R1. Just for everyone's information, we do launch 3 releases in a year. And reason for that is that we want to stay up to date with the industry, the demands, and a lot of those updates and features that we launch are actually based on the feedback by our partners like yourselves, from the community partners, from the resellers, even the end users. So we conduct a lot of surveys, and based on that, based on the requirements, we launch new features. So 3 releases in a year, so that we don't have to wait the whole year for the new feature to come in. And as we see the need, a requirement from the industry, we just launch it. So 2020 R1 was launched around Jan this year, and I'm going to jump into explain some of those features that we have launched into 2020 R1. Centralized search, which was actually launched in 2019 R3 version, but there have been a lot of advancements and improvements made in this particular feature. So what it does is it allows you to search all your milestone native alarms, events, bookmarks, all in one place. So it really allows you the lot of efficient investigation and into your daily operations and a lot of efficiency how you investigate the video. What it also does is, other than the native search functionality, which is native to Milestone, the third-party integrations, like Tertius mentions, the access forensic tool for vehicles, for example, that can also be part of the centralized search, and we'll show you later how that works and how efficiently you can do your investigations with that forensic tool for your vehicles. But even in your system, if you have multiple systems like access control system, for instance, or you could have facial recognition or analytics running on ACAP, and you're getting alerts and events, and you want to do one simple search, which could bring back the results based on the data that is coming from these multiple systems, you can do that. Centralized search allows you to do that. So that really brings the lot of efficiency and a lot of power into how you perform your investigation and daily operations. In 2020 R1, like we mentioned, we have added the functionality of LPR search as well. So you can now do LPR search functionalities along with other search filters in a single search. So I can do bookmark search, I can do motion search, and along with that, I can search a number plate. Now we have added Access Optimizer extension to this, the forensic vehicle forensic tool that we're talking about that will showcase you later. But in 2020 R1 that was added, and that really adds a lot of value on how you perform your daily operation and how you perform your investigations. Milestone Driver Framework is another extension to our Milestone integration platform, MIP SDK, as we call it. What it does is it allows not just the video cameras, which we do integrate, but also the non-video devices. IoT, for instance, the buzzword in the industry today, Internet of Things. We are seeing lots of sensors coming up, the temperature sensors, humidity, and so on and so forth. Many other sensors which are non-video sensors. So it allows you to integrate those devices which requires beyond the convention capabilities of OnWave, for example, which are just not video related, but it could be sensors for IoT, temperature, and so on and so forth, like I mentioned. So it really gives deeper integration into those devices. And since this is a part of our SDK now, the whole framework, it can be used by the partners, the community partners who develop these sensors, to develop the drivers into Milestone on their own. All we have to do is just verify the driver if it's working properly, and that's it. So that really scales our approach to market, and it really helps our partners to work with us, so they don't have to wait for us to develop each and every driver on our own, but rather they have the framework available now which they can use and develop driver on their own, and we have a team to just verify the functionality of it, and then it's available for our customers or our resellers to use it. Desktop notifications. So again, based on the market feedback, the idea here is that any alarm, it could be critical, should not go unnoticed. So in the large control room operations, you might have multiple systems. You are working with big video walls, and you're working with multiple systems: access control, fire alarm, sound. We've seen a lot of interest in the sound these days. So there is a possibility that one of the critical alarm could go, unnoticed, and that's what the desktop notifications provides you. It works in a very similar way how you receive your Outlook notification, even if your Smart Client, which is our front-end application to view the cameras. Even if it's minimized, you're performing some other tasks, or you're doing your Excel sheets or your reports or whatever, the notification pop-up will still happen, very similar to how you receive your Outlook email notification. So you can rest assured that the alarm is noticed and you can take actions on it based on the priority. Just to show you a quick snapshot how it looks like. So in the bottom, as you can see, it's a very simple, just for the test, we have configured a press button alarm. And as you can see, a pop-up appears here. Even if you're doing some other task on the smart client, you can still see the pop-up and you can take actions on it and you can see what alarm is it. So you don't necessarily have to go to Alarm Manager as previously you used to do in our previous versions. So network configuration of on-web devices. So in this release, 2020R1, in January, we released the software with the support of OnWeb Profile T and OnWeb Profile Q. Now, OnWeb Profile T is the advanced streaming profile that supports H.264 and H.265 along with the metadata streaming. OnWeb Profile Q is a profile that allows you a quick network discovery of the devices, and it allows you a basic configuration on the devices as well. Now with this, we in the previous releases, as you know, who you've used Milestone before, you could do bulk task with management, but with this, you can also perform network configuration on your devices. So I don't have to really go to each and every device, launch the web interface, change the network settings, and come back and add those cameras again. So a very tedious, complex, time-consuming process. Now you can simply click a range of cameras within the VMS, assign an IP range, and it will be deployed automatically. No need to re-add the cameras, no need to go into each and every device, change the configuration. So it really eases up a lot of those tedious configuration process for your devices. So you can, if you're working with a new project, you can add out all the cameras. You can select them in the VMS and change the network settings as you want. Video processing integration toolkit is something really interesting. This adds a new dimension of how you integrate your third-party systems with Milestone. GStreamer, for instance, is an open source framework that is a media processing toolkit, basically. It's an open source GStreamer. It is used heavily by Intel developer community and NVIDIA developer community. So in case, so what it does is it takes the video, the GStreamer framework process the video and send back the results. Now, Milestone partners, how they used to develop the integration was to download the Milestone SDK, learn the environment, develop the integration, and launch the plugin for the integration. Now this gives us added reach to the market basically and faster approach. So even if you're not very much familiarized with the Milestone SDK and you've developed your, let's say, algorithm, artificial intelligence or machine learning application or algorithm using GStreamer, Milestone SDK has now the framework, the GStreamer framework, which we call as Video Processing Toolkit, which allows you to take the video from Milestone, process it based on your algorithm, and you can get back the results into Milestone. So again, a lot of faster route to the market. All of those great work that developer community is doing out there are based on Intel platforms or NVIDIA platforms, developing those nice artificial machine learning algorithms. They now have the capability to very easily integrate into the Milestone using this media processing toolkit. So they have the framework available within Milestone that they can use. They can take the video out, process it, and send back results to Milestone in a very simple way. And there is a detailed explanation as part of our SDK documentation and explanation how you can do that. So it really opens up a lot of those great algorithms, great work that developer community is doing out there, and it allows them to integrate into Milestone, and we can have really great algorithms, machine learning, or artificial intelligence onto your Milestone platform. Notification manager, the customer dashboard, as you might all have used if you work with Milestone. So a lot of improvements there in the 2020 R1 release. So you can get all those notifications, whether your licenses are getting expired, whether there are any faults in your system getting reported. You can have multiple accounts. You can have multiple email notification based on different email addresses. For instance, you might have under your account 10 different software license code running. So you can configure different email addresses for the notification for each one of them. You have the option to turn on and turn off the notifications. So lots of improvement in the user interface and lots of improvements on how you can use the customer dashboard for all those notifications for your accounts. Documentation portal is an online portal available on our website for all our partners. So you simply log in with my Milestone account on our website, and this will give you one centralized repository of all the documents that you want. Could be getting started guide, what's new documentation, talking about all the new versions that we have launched, admin manuals, troubleshooting guides, all the collateral that's really useful for the end users and as well as the resellers or system integrators, all in one repository for you to use, easy search, and that can be really, really useful if you're implementing those large complex systems. Just a quick overview of how and this functionality is supported between the different versions. So desktop notification is Express Plus onwards. Centralized search is only for advanced products like Expert and Corporate. Network configuration is Professional onwards. Video processing toolkit is across the portfolio. So as a partner or as a developer, you can even download our free version and you can develop and test your integrations. So it gives them really flexibility. You don't have to procure license or ask for the test license. Simply download Essential Plus, which is a free product of ours, and you can develop the integration and release it. Notification manager is Express Plus onwards. Since we are talking of the video management software, that's our core business, the core functionality. The video or optical device cameras are of utmost important. As you know, we support the highest number of cameras in the industry natively. Access, we have a very close relationship with. We work very closely on the headquarter levels, a lot of information exchange, a lot of R&D exchange. With our latest device pack 10.9A, which is out now already, as you can see, we support multiple new access cameras with this device pack. So these are the new cameras that we support. And also with the new device pack, we do support the latest firmware that Access has launched as well. So if you go to our website, you can find more details of what this new device pack includes, along with all the supported Access devices and firmware that we support. With this also, we are the only VMS in the industry today that complies with all the 4 on-web profile, SC, TNQ. TNQ, as I explained earlier, launched with the 2022 R1. So we are the only VMS in the industry to support all the on-web profile and support all the on-web profile conformance devices. Now I'll play a quick video as we've been talking the Access forensic tool for vehicles, for example. And as I play the video, I'll also explain you so that you understand how it adds values to your installation and how you can really perform that smarter forensic searches in your system. So I'll just take pause just to give you the scenario. So in this particular example that we're going to show you, we want to do a vehicle investigation. The vehicle that was involved in some incident, and we want to export that incident video. But our challenge is that we have, let's say, 30 days of video or a lot of data. As you can imagine, a vehicle on the highway, there might be hundreds and thousands of vehicles that can pass even 1 hour. So my challenge is that how do I search do I need to go through each and every video clip to find out what I'm looking for, which is obviously not very efficient. But I want to find a video that was involved in the incident. I know the rough time frame. It was around 11 a.m. I know the location where the incident happened. I know the car brand, which was Skoda, but I don't know the actual car model. But I know the car color was green. Now, how do I search that with all those hundreds and thousands of video vehicles that have been passed on my video footage? Now, I'll go forward and I'll show you how it all works. So this is how the tool looks like. I'm going to give it a time range because I knew it will be around 11, so I've given it a 2-hour time frame. I'm searching for a country plate. So you have the option to search the countries based on the car plate that you know. So as you can see here, I've put in my inputs. So I'm searching for a country car plate with the country here. I can mention country could be for our region, it could be any plate in the UAE, for example. I knew the car brand, I've mentioned it, and I'm thinking it could be Octavia. So all those, as I'm inputting these fields, I'm getting these search results. So I've narrowed it down to 10 results based on my input. From all the video footage, it might be thousands of cars that have passed, but with my search functionality that I've put in, I've narrowed it down to just 10 results within no time, within seconds. Moving forward, I have added another input now. I knew the car color was green, as I explained you the scenario. Sorry about that. Sorry, so as I'm entering the car color, now you can see, I'll pause again just so that you understand it better. So as I entered the car color so I started with almost 100 results, then I narrowed it down based on the information I had to 11 results. Now I've put in the car color and it has narrowed it down to just one result. And immediately I found what I was looking for. So this is how you can perform your investigation. This is how you can perform smart searches and forensic analysis on your investigations. So with all those results, as I input information, the system has brought up the video clip that is of interest for me. So the results are narrowed down to just one result, and this is exactly what I was looking for. The car with green color, I knew the make, the Skoda Octavia model, the number plate based on the country, and there I have my result. And now I can perform my investigation. I can double click on that. I have all the information. I have the video evidence. I can play back and forward and export the video for my investigation purposes or hand it over to authorities for further actions on it. I can even from the system forward it to my other colleagues that are working on Milestone. It could be my supervisor or other authorities or higher level management. So all of this functionality is possible. This gives you a brief overview of how you can use the centralized search and forensic analysis with access to it. Really, really powerful, especially for the transport use case where you have not just the normal LPR functionality, but you can do a lot more. You have the color, you have the vehicle recognition, you have the model, and even the color. All of those filters are available for you to use, and you can perform along with LPR recognition, all those great features, and that can really help you in your investigations or especially in the transport vertical. So that's all from my end. Hope it was of good use for you. Obviously, you can reach out to us if you have any queries, or we can take questions here on the forum as well.
Thank you, Haider. So I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to ask any questions now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to unmute everybody. So if you want to ask a question, you're welcome to ask a question now. Let me just say unmute. So you have the ability to unmute yourself now if you have a question. So please feel free to ask a question. Yes, the session is recorded. There was a question about that. So the session is recorded. Okay. What I'm going to do, yes, the recording will be, you will get an email after the session with the link where you can actually go listen to this again. So if you've attended the session, there will be an email with a link where you can listen to it again. Okay, so I'm just going to mute everybody again. Seeing that we have a little bit of time left, I'm just going to share a few more videos. There's a question, the Access Optimizer search that was shown now, what ANPR system was it using? That was one called Access License Plate Verifier, which is available in some regions. It's not available in the Middle East yet, but it is available in some regions. So if you allow me, I am just going to show you one or two more videos inside of Milestone showing how Optimizer works. Okay, so share screen. Okay, so we've seen this. Okay, I want to show you guys when we look at the audio side, we've seen all of this. When you actually run it now, this is what the audio configuration would actually look like in the VMS. So you see it picks it up as speakers. You see there's your recorder. And you see there's all your audio devices. And now you can actually, the same way that you would manage a video device, you can actually manage an audio device now. And here you can start working on the devices as standalone devices. Okay, so the same way I could add groups, I could add different functionality to that group. Okay, so now you can just go and add groups as you would normally do. The next one I wanted to just show you guys quickly, you could add and remove speakers. So again, we treat these devices as standalone devices, and we can really go and manage these devices now. Okay, I think that's the one we did show already. Okay, so volume control. So we've got a few questions. These plugins are coming with normal software package or extra parts to be ordered. The plugins you can download directly from access.com. You can get it directly from the website itself. Is Milestone application free or paid for? Maybe either you can take this one. Okay, we'll get back to that one. We've got a question: do all the Axis explosion protected cameras compatible with Milestone now? As far as I understand, they are, based on the new device pack. Are there any plans to include an Axis firmware library into Optimizer? This is something maybe for the future. It's not there yet, but maybe in the future we could do that. You can do firmware upgrades through the web interface or the camera assistant built into Optimizer currently. How do we operate wipers using Optimizer? You can, I can show you. It's similar to. I'll show you a video on how to do that. It's similar to the way we do the washer wiper of the speed drive of the Q61 PTZs. There's another question: is this the Optimizer that you are showing? Yes, this is Optimizer. So for those of you guys who have panoramic cameras or fisheyes, this is showing a simple video of how the fisheye camera would look. So this was a wall-mounted fisheye camera, or a 360. You'll see there's a guy walking there. This is in Sweden. This is just for a simulation. It's not an actual it's not an actual thief. It's just a simulation. So now you'll see what we can do after the fact is we can do the digital PTZ. So you see how you can actually move the camera itself after the fact now. Okay, and this is now with a 360 or a panoramic camera that you could actually do that. Okay. So the next one is another video just on that. This is just to show you a little bit more about how the de-warping actually works. So you see here's the smart client, and you see how I can use a digital PTZ and actually move the camera in the smart client now. Okay, and this same functionality we'll have available in the recording also. So there was a question. This is an Axis feature within Milestone. Yes, this is correct. Milestone cannot do the de-warping without the Axis optimizer, not as far as I know. So I would highly recommend that if you have Milestone, that you download Optimizer. Again, it's free of charge. It will just enhance what you do currently. So you see here we have a 360 or a fisheye camera, and how you can de-warp this camera again. So this is another one. There's a thermal camera we have, which is typically we call this a Q2901 camera. This is it's an industrial camera. We use these for spot temperature monitors as an example there. So this camera has a feature called spot temperature. So if you go into the VMS on the Milestone side, now you can actually in real time use this feature of the camera, which is called spot temperature management. And here it can actually click and tell you what is the current temperature there at that point in time. Okay, so this is very, very useful for areas like transformers. You can use it in areas where you have temperature sensitive materials you're working with. And here you can even see the different zones where the camera can currently look at. Okay, so looking at the radar, this is not really one I've touched yet, but the radar also has full functionality because of Optimizer. Gonna mute the sound. Okay, so here you can see this is what the radar itself looks like. And here you can see a vehicle coming. You'll see now there's the vehicle driving. It goes into a specific zone. Then we can start recording the footage. If this is actually a person, not a vehicle. If you go into another zone, you can do something else. You can say, track the PTZ if it picks it up. You can start doing recordings. And I just want to jump a little bit forward just to show you guys what it actually looks like in Smart Client. You see there's the radar view, there's the PTZ view, and these two are now working together. So here we can actually see what it looks like when you set it up. So there's the radar interface. And this is something, again, you would typically do in the VMS or in the web browser to actually configure the radar. Okay. So jumping to the on-screen controls, we looked at that quickly. So here, when you look at advanced cameras like the Q61, which has the speed drive feature, or you look at cameras that has a wiper feature, you will now get extra functionality to allow you to actually utilize that in Smart Client. So I'm just going to show you now how that actually looks like for speed drive. So here you see this is the Q61 PTZ camera. The whole idea of the speed drive is to shake the water off the camera. Very useful for when you're cleaning the camera. Very useful when you have rain in the environment. And now you see how you actually trigger it. Again with on-screen controls, you see that it says PTZ, speed dry, and now the camera will start shaking. And similar to this, you will have an option with the camera that has a washer or wiper to click PTZ wiper. So you see now this is a camera, the same camera. And now it does the speed dry functionality. Okay. Just to show you something simple like autofocus on a PTZ camera. If you quickly want to just do an autofocus on a PTZ, again, go to the client, click on autofocus, and it will now focus the camera for you. So again, the whole idea with this is just to take a lot of the work that you would normally do in a web browser, move it away, build it into the client or the management side, and really optimize what you can do in the VMS. Okay. So there was a question, does Optimizer require a native integration with Milestone? As far as I know, yes, but Axis cameras all have native integration with Milestone. So that shouldn't be a problem. Just make sure you have the latest device pack. Okay, so apologies, I saw that you were on mute. There was a question earlier about, is Milestone application free or paid for?
So we have different versions available. We do have a free version, which we call as Milestone Essential Plus, which is free up to 8 cameras. But you might not get all the advanced functionality. Yes, but we do have a free version up to 8 cameras. And we have different versions like Express Plus, Professional Plus, Expert and Corporate based on different feature sets that we offer.
So there's another question. So without Optimizer, there is no way to control PTZ or adjust camera settings outside of the browser. There is some basic settings that you can do in the VMS, in the management console without Optimizer. But it's really the advanced functionality which brings just the way you work with the devices to a whole nother level. Okay, we have about 7 minutes left. I'm going to allow those of you that's on the call to unmute yourself and ask any final questions.
Yeah, just like to add to the last question. So you definitely can operate PTZ and other features, but it um, it is still a little bit complicated process. You might have to open the web interface, you have to do different settings, and come back and just create those alerts in Milestone and test those. Um, Optimizer eases up the whole process. So you have all the functionality just available to you on the software interface, just without doing anything at all. The dewarp, the auto shake feature that Tricia just showed, the Viper control on the cameras, all of that is available on Milestone interface just by installing the optimizer, and you have the full flexibility of configuring all your cameras with all the settings and all the advanced features on Milestone interface without having to go into the complexity of opening the web browsers and configuring different stuff and then test it again on the software. So it takes away all those uh, complicated processes, especially for the reseller partners, the system integrators, even the end users, because as you can see on the client side, the operator side, he can perform a lot of those actions from the smart client itself. It really allows a lot of those flexibility on how you operate your system and in the back end how you manage your system. So I highly, highly recommend for all the Milestone Access installations to install this, and you feel the difference how you manage your sites and how you operate your sites in your control rooms.
Okay, there's another question, Haider. Is it possible to assign IP addresses across different VLANs with Optimizer? That's a good
VLANs.
question.
So yeah, so as long as your system from where you're making the configuration has access to all those VLANs, yes, you can do that. So not just the optimizer, like I mentioned, Milestone itself for on-web devices has now the feature to do network configuration. Yes, for especially for access. So as long as the computer system that or PC that you're sitting on has access to those VLANs, you can assign those IP addresses into different VLANs to different devices.
Okay, there's another question. Thank you for your answer. If I'm a non-Access brand user, do I need a similar plugin for the same brand? So, Haider, is there any other plugins for other vendors out there?
So not to the level of optimizer. The optimizer is way, way advanced, and optimizer is probably be the only one that we have with the camera manufacturer. So you might have other utilities that are independent of the VMS. The whole idea and beauty of optimizer is that it works natively into the Milestone environment. You don't feel that you're using any other utility. That's the biggest advantage of Access Optimizer, and exclusively for Milestone. So I won't say that I don't think we have this kind of extensive functionality natively integrated into Milestone with other brands. So that really is a very powerful tool that we have with Access.
Is there a minimum version of Milestone to use this? As far as I know, Haider, it's 2016 R1.
Yes, so 2016 R1 onwards.
Okay. Can the optimizer work with older version of Access Camera? Yes, it can.
Yep.
Also, on the optimizer, can we configure all features of the cameras like motion detection? Yes, you can. It brings the whole camera interface, the camera management part. We call it the camera assistant plugin. It brings that into Milestone where you can configure ACAP like motion detection directly in the camera. Then there's another question, when will Milestone launch the access control system, which is fully integrated with Milestone? Which access control are you referring to, Benson? Are you talking about access control? So if you guys want to ask a question, you are welcome to unmute yourself and ask a question if that's easier.
And in the last question on the access control tab, we do have full integration with access control. You can manage access controller inside Milestone, so you can create users, create different doors, manage those doors, lock, unlock using our access module, but with the access control. So we do already have a full integration with access control systems. And you can even combine that with the door stations, as Tashi was showing in his slide. So you can really come up with a very smart solutions with access control plus the door station devices. Really smart solution for your access control systems.
Okay, we've got 1 minute left. I'm going to give an opportunity for one more question. If there's any more questions, please feel free to ask that.
Hello. Hi,
Yes.
Tertius. Hi, Haida. How are you?
Hi, well, and you?
Yeah, very well, thanks. This is Tinashe. Yeah. So I was just wondering how and where do we get this? I joined a bit late, sorry, but
Okay.
just wondered where can we get this software, because it's really seeming like something that would really help our workflow in terms of configuration and all. Where do we get it? How do we download it?
Yes, of course. So Tinashe, if you go to access.com, just search for Optimizer and you can download it free of charge from the website.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Pleasure. So guys, it's 11 o'clock Dubai time. Our time is finished. If you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or to Haider. Thank you very much for everybody that attended. Thank you very much for you, Haider. Appreciate your time. Like I said, guys, the session was recorded. You will get an email after the fact where you can go and listen to the recording. Again, you will get an email from me with a survey. Please, if you have some time, please complete that. Just asking a little bit more about Optimizer. If you have any specific use cases or specific things where you feel we can add into Optimizer, please feel free to send that feedback to me. Have a wonderful day. For those of you guys in the Middle East, have a wonderful weekend. Take care, stay safe, and we'll be in touch soon. Thank you.
Thank you.